Today, we're going to break down one of the most famous productivity methods out there, the Pomodoro Technique. Yep, it's simple, it's super popular, and believe it or not, it all starts with a tomato.
All right, let's just get right into it, because we all know this feeling, right? You sit down, you're ready to work, and bam, you're suddenly fighting this tidal wave of notifications, emails, and that little voice in your head telling you to just check your phone for a minute. You end up feeling busy all day, but when you look back, did you actually get anything important done? Well, that exact feeling, that is the problem the Pomodoro Technique was designed to fix. So where did this amazingly simple idea even come from? You'd probably guess it was cooked up in some high-tech lab or a fancy corporate boardroom. But nope, not even close. It actually started with a college student who was just trying to get some studying done. Okay, so picture this. It's the late 1980s. There's this university student in Italy, Francesco Cirillo, and he's just staring at a huge pile of books, totally overwhelmed. In a moment of what I can only call inspired frustration, he grabs the only timer he can find, which just happens to be a kitchen timer shaped like a tomato. Pomodoro, by the way, is just Italian for tomato. He made a deal with himself. Just focus, really truly focus, for one short burst of time. And that one simple act? Well, it kicked off a whole productivity revolution.
So at its core, the technique is really a way to work with your brain's natural energy levels, not against them. It's all about creating these focused little sprints. You commit to working on one single thing for 25 minutes, what he called a Pomodoro, and then, and this is the most important part, you take a short, completely guilt-free break to let your brain recharge.
All right, so how do you actually do it? It is so simple. First, you pick one task, just one. Second, set a timer for 25 minutes. Third, and this is the tough part, you work on that one thing with zero distractions until that timer rings. No checking your phone, no looking at email. When it rings, you stop. Seriously, even if you're on a roll, you stop. Then you take a 5-minute break. After you've done that 4 times, you've earned yourself a nice, longer break, something like 15 to 30 minutes.
And it's pretty incredible to see how this one little personal hack just became this global phenomenon. So it started in Cirillo's kitchen, right? Then the idea got formalized and written down in the 90s. But it really blew up with the rise of smartphones and apps, which put a timer in everyone's pocket. And now, in this new world of remote work, it's become a go-to tool for people trying to build some structure and fight off all those distractions at home.
Okay, so we've got the how, but the really interesting question is why? Why is this so dang effective? It's not magic, it's just really smart psychology. What's fascinating to me is how it taps into these core principles of how our brains actually deal with focus and motivation.
So what's the secret sauce here? Well, it's all about tricking our brains. You know that huge, scary project you've been avoiding? This makes it seem less daunting. I mean, anyone can do something for just 25 minutes, right? The mandatory breaks are huge. They stop you from burning out. And that ticking timer, it creates a little bit of urgency, but not enough to stress you out. Plus, it forces you to stop multitasking. Trying to do 2 things at once is a brain drain. Each time you finish a Pomodoro, it feels like a little win, which kind of turns your workday into a game and makes time feel like something you can actually manage.
And you know, this isn't just a feeling. Some studies and meta-analyses have shown that using a structured system like this can boost your effective focus by a very real 15 to 25%. I mean, by giving your brain a clear plan, you're just spending less mental energy trying to stay on task.
But, and yeah, this is a big but. As great as this all sounds, the Pomodoro Technique is not a silver bullet. In fact, it has one really critical flaw, a kind of built-in kryptonite that can actually destroy your productivity, especially if you're doing creative work.
And here it is, that dreaded interruption. We've all been in that zone, right? That magical state of flow, where you're so deep into what you're doing that the rest of the world just fades away. Well, the Pomodoro Technique, with its strict 25-minute timer, can be the very thing that yanks you right out of that perfect state.
And here's the paradox laid out for you. Cognitive science shows that it can take our brains anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes just to get into that deep focus state. So what happens with a 25-minute Pomodoro? You guessed it. The timer often goes off right as you're finally hitting your groove, forcing you to stop and then pay that mental price of trying to get back into it all over again.
So, what's the big takeaway here?
It's that context is everything. The Pomodoro is amazing for stuff you're putting off, or for breaking down huge projects into small pieces, or for just grinding through repetitive work like your email inbox. But for tasks that need that long, uninterrupted train of thought, we're talking deep creative writing, complex coding, strategic planning, that forced break can do way more harm than good.
So if the classic tomato timer just keeps shattering your focus, what do? Well, the good news is the whole idea has evolved. Let's look at a more modern alternative that was designed to solve this exact problem.
Enter the flow time technique. You can pretty much think of it as Pomodoro 2.0. It keeps all the good stuff like the focused work sessions and taking intentional breaks, but it gets rid of that rigid one-size-fits-all timer that can kill your momentum. And this comparison just makes the difference crystal clear. With Pomodoro, you've got a timer counting down from 25 minutes, creating these fixed work sprints. With flow time, you flip the script. You use a stopwatch that counts up. You just work for as long as you feel focused. Could be 20 minutes, could be 90 minutes. When you naturally feel your focus starting to fade, that's when you stop and take a break. See, the goal isn't just completing sprints, it's about protecting that precious flow state.
So really, it's not about which one is better. It's about having the right tool for the right job. You use Pomodoro when you need that structure, when you need to build discipline, or just to finally get started on something. And you use flow time when you need to go deep on a complex problem and keep that creative momentum going.
And at the end of the day, that's what all of these productivity systems are really about, right? Whether it's a 25-minute sprint or a 2-hour flow session, the whole point is just to be more intentional with our most valuable and totally non-renewable resource.
So ultimately, whether you choose the structure of the tomato or the flexibility of flow, the most important thing to remember is this: the best system out there is the one that you'll actually use. You have to experiment, tweak things, and find the rhythm that helps you do your best work. So what's it going to be?
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.